Hi everyone, it's TheTidesChanging here, and welcome to part 2 of the speed build for Casa de las Estrellas. So in this part, we finish up work on the exterior house and get started on the interior. So right now, I'm working on putting some of those large cypress trees on either side of the grand entranceway to the house. Because after taking out a lot of the landscaping, I started placing cypress trees around the house a little bit more, just because they tie in better with that more clean landscaping style than a lot of other plants do. Because like I discussed previously in the last part, I took out a lot of the plants because I just felt like a cleaner style would be better for the landscaping. And right now I'm going into the backyard and taking out some of the plants in there as well because once again I felt like it was a little bit too busy as far as the plants go back there. And since I took out that large tree that used to be behind the pool, I was trying to put some more smaller plants back there since I felt like there had to be something behind the pool, but then I was always worried with putting plants back behind it that it would block the view. I mean, not that it really matters, but I'd like to think that if a sim was in the pool, they'd like to have a nice unobstructed view of the rest of Oasis Springs. So I usually just think about little details like that as I build, if I were in this house, what would I want to see? Right now I'm placing a nice table and chairs, using the table with the umbrella on that little circular area. Because like I discussed in the previous part, I put that circular foundation area there just to have kind of a special set-off area for tables and chairs. Here I'm putting some small rugs next to the pool because I felt like it could look like they're beach towels, like there's beach towels left there for people to tan. I also have a couple of chairs there next to the pool. They're supposed to be like lounge chairs. Unfortunately, there aren't any actual lounge chairs in The Sims 4 that, are more the type of chairs that your Sims would lay back in, or at least I haven't seen any, so I don't think there are any unless I've just completely missed them the whole time I've been building in the game. Right now I am furnishing the little bar area that's right there. Yeah, because like I said before, I just put a separate building to have some bars in, just because, I felt like a house this fancy definitely needed to have an outdoor bar beside the pool, and plus it makes this house really good for parties because Sims can hang out by the pool and have some drinks out there too. So yeah, I definitely think it's something that fits in really well with this house. And right now I'm going back out over to the front yard because even though I wanted a cleaner landscaping style, I felt like maybe there was a little bit too much empty space and that it could stand to have a little bit more landscaping in there. So I just put some more trees and, those types of objects in. And then I did feel like it looked a little bit weird with how the circular foundation area was, so I just had to go in a little bit more so there wasn't that bit of foundation on the edge between that circular area and the more square area, if that makes any sense. And right here, I felt like there was too much just blank deck area, so I felt like I need to make things a little bit more interesting. So what I did was I took out part of the deck and then made a little gardening area. So I actually used grass there just to spice things up a little bit, and then had some plants around it to once again separate it from the sand like I did around the side of the house. And I really do like how that looks. It definitely makes the whole decking area look a lot more interesting because I just didn't know what to do with all of that empty deck space. So I felt like I needed to get rid of some of it and just do something else. So right now I'm just trying to work out how to do the terrain paint so everything blends together perfectly. And then now I'm moving on to doing some more of the furnishing for this area. So then I did take out those tables and chairs there, and then I was also trying to see about adding in the bonsai tree into the little garden area, but that didn't look right. But I did put a table with umbrella in where that other one used to be because I felt like that's an area where there'd be a lot of sun, so there need to be an umbrella there, and then also just adding in some cypress trees to the side of the house, so there's some cypress trees around the back. Right here I'm placing a grill there. That's actually the closest entrance to where the kitchen will be, and you'll see more about where the kitchen and everything else will be in the interior once we move into the interior, which isn't too far off. So I was just trying to figure out some kind of a table to put next to the grill because I felt like there had to be a table so you could have, like grilling instruments there. So I just put a little table there with a spatula, some other things, and then in that corner there, I added some benches just so there was something there. So I did originally use blue on the chairs since I felt like there needed to be a pop of color, and it would give it a fun sort of beachy-ish look, even though this isn't really a beach house. I was also trying to add in a large dining table and some chairs around there, underneath of the more rounded deck, but I do end up getting rid of that though because it just looks sort of odd because it's completely different than the rest of the tables and chairs that are there, and I just couldn't find a larger one that fit in perfectly, so I just decided not to have a dining table and chairs there since it just, it just seemed like a little bit too much given all the other tables and chairs that are out there. Now I'm moving on to furnishing the rooms with the arches that are underneath of the decks. So for this one, right there, I decided to put a chess table and chairs so, they can sit outside by the pool and play some chess. On this one, I put some couches kind of on either side of the door, but a little further out, and then a coffee table between them, so that's just sort of a nice sitting area. You can sit there and read, right beside the pool. So I try to make a lot of outdoor sitting area so, so Sims could use the outdoor space, and then I was going to try and fit in an easel, but it didn't really fit in correctly with all the arches because they are technically doors, so I couldn't really place certain things next to them. And then I did go in and change the colors of the chairs because I was worried that the blue just was a little bit too colorful, so I was trying to experiment with making them brown, and then I did end up changing them back to blue. But yeah, right here I did go back in and try to figure out some other coloring, so I made the cushions brown rather than blue, just because I guess Spanish colonial homes usually don't have, when I was looking at pictures, I noticed that a lot of Spanish colonial homes just had a lot of beiges. They weren't really that colorful. But the next build that I do want to do a much more colorful build, because I have been getting requests lately to do builds using brighter colors, and this one definitely does not have a lot of brighter colors, but that's because I was trying to keep with a Spanish colonial type of film, or not film, theme. But next time I definitely will do, I do want to do a bright colored modern build, just to do something a little bit different and do something other than the more neutral colors that I typically do. So I believe at this point the exterior of the home is actually done, so I'm finally moving on to the interior of it. And as usual, I ran into the issues with the roofing showing through, which is an unfortunate issue that commonly happens in The Sims 4. As I said previously, putting a room inside of whatever the room with the roof showing through and then stretching it out to the edges of it usually works. Although that doesn't work for areas like the entrance of this house where it's just open, and I really wanted to have an open entrance because this is a house that definitely needs one, but I was able to fix the roofing showing through everywhere else. And then right now I'm just trying to finish the floor plan of the house, I guess, so putting in where all the bedrooms will be, since this is a second floor, so it is of course where all the bedrooms are. And the master suite in this house is actually humongous, so the rest of the space is, most of it's the master suite actually. So there's 3 bedrooms that are pretty decently sized, and then just a humongous master suite. So this whole room that I'm about to block off right there is the master suite, that entire area on the left side of the house. So it is just enormous. It's the biggest master suite that I made in a while, but this is a house that definitely just really needed a large and very luxurious master suite, so that's exactly what I put in it. Right now I'm just going through and putting all the doors into the house, so I was trying to put in those Mediterranean themed doors, just to keep up with the Mediterranean theme of the house, of course. I finished placing all of the windows and doors upstairs, so now I'm moving downstairs to continue doing it there. So on the first floor of the house, in addition to, the living room and the dining room and kitchen, all of that standard stuff, is a guest bedroom, an exercise room, and a study, and of course numerous bathrooms. I can't remember how many bathrooms this house has. I actually kind of forgot. I know it's 5 bedrooms, and every bedroom has a bathroom too, so it's like 6 or 7 or 8 bathrooms, I think 7 bathrooms. I don't want to pause and think about that right now. I also did make a split level area for what will be the formal living room, so I thought it'd be interesting to kind of have a lower level area, because that's always really fun to play with. And then I'm also working on putting in the stairs and the grand entrance. And then I did go through and change some things with the foundation of the house, and just going in and placing some columns in what will be the split level area. So I took out that big wall and just made it railing and columns. I also did add some trim to the second floor of the house, some white trim to match the walls, which I think really made the areas where the whole 2 floors were exposed look a lot more interesting. And right now I'm just going in and refining some of the things in the entrance area here. So this is actually the first part of the house I furnished, which makes sense because usually when I furnish homes, I start from the entrance and then do the main areas on the first floor, finish the whole first floor and then move upstairs. That's almost always the sequence that I follow when furnishing. So the entrance area of this house really isn't that big, so I just use those dark wooden floors, dark wooden stairs, because when I was doing research trying to, figure out how homes of this style are typically decorated, I found that usually there's more neutral stucco walls. So in this room right here, I used a beige stucco color, and then there's also a lot of dark woods. So I was trying to carry that theme on throughout the house because I was really trying to furnish and decorate this house in a more, I guess, traditional Spanish colonial style manner. So hopefully, I think I did succeed on that. So hopefully I did do the style of house justice because, like I said in the last part, this was actually the first Spanish colonial style house that I've done. So this was a huge challenge. I mean, I did do the Mediterranean house for a Let's Build series that I did, but that was more of an Italian type Mediterranean home, so it's a little bit different than this one. So this one was definitely a challenge, especially with the more plain type walls, because I found that it made decorating much more of a challenge to try to make rooms with just plain stucco walls look not boring, and then on top of that was the fact that I used the medium-sized walls, so that was just more wall that I had to figure out how to furnish. I probably won't do another house of this style anytime soon, because while I did enjoy furnishing this house, I don't really enjoy furnishing in this style as much as I do other styles, such as regular, traditional, and modern style homes, but I still did like furnishing this home. I'm not saying that I didn't like furnishing, it just didn't come quite, the style didn't come quite as easily to me as, I guess the furnishing styles I typically do. But right here, I discovered that when you try to place a fireplace in a split level area, it can only be placed on the foundation level, which I didn't realize that, and that's rather unfortunate because, it would be really nice to be able to have the fireplace right down on ground level, but since the foundation height of this house is really small, or I put on the lowest foundation height other than it being flat, it really doesn't look that odd because it just kind of looks like the fireplace is on a platform that's barely above the ground. So I actually do like how it looks, and I think it actually ended up giving it a more realistic look because it was able to be higher up, and I could have tile on it, and it just, like I said, it actually looked really good, and I think a lot more realistic to have it up on that slight platform. I did struggle a bit though in trying to figure out how to furnish this room. So what I wanted for this formal living area was to have a very airy Mediterranean type of feel, so you have those large arched windows right there that give you a really nice view of the pool. So and then I also use the more Mediterranean themed couches in there, and I really do like how this room looks. I think this might actually be my favorite furnishing in the house. I just really like how it turned out and how airy and open it looks, and just how, you have just a very nice view of the pool out there. And then, I also added some end tables in, of course, with some lamps. And like I said before, there isn't a TV in this living area because it's supposed to be more of the formal one where you just sit and talk, and then, you could sit in front of the fireplace and talk. And then I was trying to figure out what to do with the rest of that wall there, so I was trying out putting some bookshelves in, but then I didn't quite like how that looked. I also threw up some curtains there as well, and those curtains perfectly fit with those windows. To try and make that wall look a little bit more decorated, I put some columns in there on either side of that large painting. I was just experimenting a little bit, so I thought that would just make it look like there was a little bit more going on that wall without putting furniture that seemed out of place. I think, right here I changed it to a different kind of column because I was worried those were too busy, and then I also changed the painting above the fireplace to be one that was a little bit smaller and also a little bit more elegant, and just placing some plants around the rest of the room just to, finish up the decorating a bit. And also, as far as the color goes, as you can tell, I gave it a red and blue theme, which I think looks really nice. So at this point, the furnishing of that area is done, so I am now working on the bar area. So in addition to the bar that's outside, this house also has one on the inside, and I actually kind of forgot I had the bar on the outside because of, I did this a while after I finished the exterior, I believe. It was like a couple days later, and for some reason I completely forgot that I already had a bar outside and just went and put another one inside the house. But, you know, it is a big house, so I guess having 2 different bars in it is appropriate, because I don't know, maybe the Sims don't want to go outside to get a drink, or maybe more than one Sim wants to practice their mixology skill. I don't know, but it does fit in with this house pretty well. I did struggle a little bit with trying to figure out what to do for the wall paint in this area, though, because in those corner areas where the wall kind of sticks out, I didn't want to just have the same beige stucco. I wanted to have something different. But the rock type walls, which I guess is more traditionally what you would see in this type of home, just didn't look right. I'm not really that fond of the rock wall choices that come with this game, so I just put brick in there instead, which probably isn't what you would normally see in a house of this style. I'm not sure of that, but I mean, it looked a lot better than putting in the rock, and I think it also looks better than just having the plain stucco, so I just left it there anyway, because I just feel like there needed to be a bit of an accent in the wall of this house. And something I did worry about a lot when doing the wallpapering in this house is that having the stucco all over the place just looked really boring. So I did try to switch up the wall coloring somewhat, but I did stick with stucco, but I just experimented with using some different kinds of colors of stucco, and here I'm just placing stucco all over the place, because originally I just had the same wall everywhere, and then I don't know if it's this part, I think it's the next part, I did go back in and then change some walls here and there to different kind of stuccos just to add a little bit of variety. I also struggled a little bit with trying to figure out how to furnish the less formal living area, because like I said, I felt like there had to be a nice grand TV area, and that would work well to have that right next to the bar. But then I was having some issues with trying to figure out where exactly to put the TV. So like you saw previously, I had it right up against that railing, but then I felt like that looked weird to have the couches in there facing, you know, that way, and then to have couches in the other area arranged similarly. So this part of the house is definitely one that I struggled with furnishing. So originally I was using the same couches that I used in the other living room area, and I was trying different colors out. But then my worry with that was that it just looked weird having the same exact set of couches in 2 different places where you could see the other couches. So, you know, I felt like it just looked weird to sit on, you know, be in the, I guess, less formal living area, and then right next to it is the same exact set of couches. So, I had some trouble with that, you know, with figuring out what to do. So originally I just had the same couches but red to try and have a little bit of a difference. And then I also struggled with what to do as far as the wall that the TV was on. So originally I just had the TV on the wall in between the 2 different doors. So originally the door was in the center, as you may have seen, but then I felt like the center would be a better spot for the TV, so I just had doors on either side for where the TV is, and then I felt like it looked a little bit bland to have just a TV and an accent table. Because once again, I just feel like this was a house that just really needed to have a very grand look to it, and that just isn't quite grand enough, so I was experimenting with putting paintings in there, and also with putting shelving and decorations on the shelving, and then having brick as an accent wall, and trying out other different colors as an accent wall. And I did really want to not use walls other than stucco and I guess brick, just to keep things traditional. And then what I decided to do to not make things look so odd was actually wall off the living area so that it wasn't open. So I put those walls where there were once railings, and then on the top in between the columns I used the spandrels to kind of create a fake arch, since I don't think you could really have an arch there due to the stairs, and that ended up making things look a lot better, because it made it so it was like separate rooms rather than the same room, so that fixed a lot of issues with that and just made things look a whole lot better. And then of course that did mean that I had to go in and add some more decorations, since there was a bunch of walls that were now left undecorated, so I just added some large paintings on those walls to fill in the space right there. After walling off that whole area, I just decided to pretty much gut the casual living area and redo it. So what I ended up doing was having the wall in between the doors bump out some, and then I put another fireplace there, and then a TV above it, and, you know, of course some items on top of the fireplace. And I really feel like that made the whole area look a lot more grand. And also, instead of using the Mediterranean couch set, I used the fancier, older-fashioned one, just so there was something different in there. So I guess the furniture in the less formal living room area is actually more formal than in the technically formal living room area, but like I said, I wanted the other one to have a Mediterranean theme, and then the one with the TV have more of a traditional living room type of a theme to it. And right now I'm moving on to the breakfast nook type area, so this is right off of where the kitchen will be, so the kitchen will actually be to the left of that right now where you see that opening. So yeah, there is this breakfast nook area, and then in addition to that, there is also a more traditional large dining room, which is that one area in the front of the house with the large arches. And I did have some trouble trying to figure out what to do as far as curtains for this area, because there were two different types of windows in that area. So there's the more rounded ones, and then the 2 tile wide ones that are more of a square shape. So I had some trouble finding curtains that fit over both of them and that didn't look like they were too much. So yeah, here I was trying out those curtains. So I ended up using those, or I actually went back with the green ones, but yeah, that was something I had trouble figuring out. And then right here I was trying to figure out a different kind of tile to use in the kitchen, because I thought maybe it would look better to have something other than regular wood. And I was also trying to get started on the kitchen, but I just really wasn't sure what to do for the kitchen. And then right there was supposed to be sort of like an open area where there was a counter island looking into the breakfast nook area. But I had some trouble trying to get that right, and then it just ended up looking really weird. And I was struggling with the kitchen a bit, so I sort of just gave up on it for the time being, and then decided to move on to the dining area. So for the dining area, I wanted to have a very formal, but yet very airy and Mediterranean type of a look with those large window arches, and also you have this fireplace that gives it more of a formal look, and then, of course, the formal table and chairs. I gave the dining room a red type of an accent theme, so you have that red plant there above the fireplace, and, well, actually I just changed it to orange, but then I did change the candles to be red, and then the dining tables are red as well, so I actually used red as an accent color throughout this house a lot, since I saw that as a color that I guess was frequently used as Mediterranean houses, in addition to the darker blue that I used in the formal living area. I also placed some of those, I guess, china hutches is what they're called, right there behind the dining room table, just to make the decorating look a little bit better, and I wasn't sure what to put in that corner, so I just threw in an extra dining table there, and also some paintings as well. So there isn't really a ton of furnishing the dining area, so at that point it is pretty much done, and then now moving on to that little hallway area that actually goes to the study. And then I was trying to figure out if I could use a different kind of wall covering in the dining room there, but I ended up just sticking with the more beige type of a stucco color. And right now I'm moving on to the half bathroom, as you can see here. So for this one, I once again just kept with a more traditional theme, and I believe I did use red as an accent, as you see here with the red wall coloring. I do think I changed it though, or maybe I changed it then I went back to it, but I was also trying to once again have red as an accent theme. And then on the other side you used to have a toilet with a nice table next to it, and then here was when I was trying out different wall coverings because I was worried the red was a little bit too bold, but in the end I just kept the red coloring, and now I'm moving on to the rest of the main floor of the house. On a more random note though, did any of you see the official announcement from The Sims that Move Objects On will be back in the game? Right after recording the last part, which is on Friday, The Sims Twitter actually posted the same photo with the caption, "Can you say moo?" as in, I guess, move objects on. And I was so excited after seeing that. Like, I am so excited to get Move Objects On back in the game this week. Like, oh, I cannot wait. Like, I'm probably gonna wait to build until it's back in the game, just because I don't want to build now, I don't want to build it until it comes out, now knowing that it's gonna be back in the game. Oh, but I am so glad they're adding it back in. Like, I was really worried that Move Objects On wasn't gonna come back in. That does mean that I do need to be a little bit more careful with placing objects, and I need to do a little bit more testing of houses to see how Move Objects On impacts Sims being able to get around in this game, because I know with Sims 3 you had to be aware of how, like, certain objects got in the way of other objects, and I'm not sure whether that's going to be different in this game or not, but I seriously cannot wait for this patch now. I can't remember when it's going to come out, like some point this week. But anyway, the last little bit of furnishing that I'm doing in this part is actually the guest room of the house. So, like how guest rooms normally are, there isn't really a lot of personalization in this room, just because it's supposed to be more of a generic room without a lot of personal objects in it, so you know, you just have a little bit of furniture here and there, and rather than folded clothes on the dresser, there's just some towels and a little plant. At this point though, the guest bedroom is done, so I'm moving on to the guest bathroom, which I think is actually the second biggest of the bedroom bathrooms, apart from the master bathroom, of course. I'm pretty sure it's bigger than the bathrooms that are off of the kids' rooms. But I did go with more of a traditional, elegant theme with this, of course, and with the red accent curtains, because like I said previously, red was just a huge accent color in this house. But we are nearing the end of this video though, so I quickly want to say, like I did in the last video, that this house is currently up for download. To find it, just search for The Tides Changing or Casa de las Estrellas on the gallery in the game. Or if you have trouble with the in-game gallery, you can also go to the gallery website and find it on there. I'll have a link for that in the description. But I hope you'll enjoy this video. Thanks for watching, and bye!